Y'all, it is so nice and quiet. It is really windy outside still. We are in the evening of the first day of January. I'm gonna put a book in here, but it's not one that I have read yet. Although I think I'm going to go ahead and start. This will be my first book of the year. It is Clarice Lispector's Agua Viva. She is apparently one of the geniuses of the 20th century, according to Colonscopy. I don't know who that is, but I will assure you that I will look it up. Anyway, I am watching journaling videos. Which I don't think you can see very well because of the glare on my TV. That doesn't usually happen, but it could be because it's so dark here in the room. But anyway, I'm watching journaling videos and planning videos. I tend to do that a lot at the beginning of the year because I am working out how I want to go forward in all of my mini planners and books that I have, because I can never decide what it is that I actually want to do. So I torture myself at the beginning of the year, and I will probably change out systems and planners multiple times before we get to 2026. But I love to watch what other people have done and incorporate the things that resonate with me. So that's where we are. I said I was going to try to stay away from the headboard content, but yet here we are. It's a little rough on you when you've been pretty much in limbo for a week or so, a week and some change, and then you find that after the holiday, things just get back to business as usual. Like the trash will come tomorrow, and so they have to make sure that that's taken out, and any appointments that we have, things like that. I still have till the end of the week before I have to do anything major. But Monday is coming, that test that, when you're over a certain age, you have to get. And in my case, because my family history, I've been getting since I was 37. Yeah, I have to have an extra one of those tests because I did test last year. Anyway, I'm testing early. I think I'm due every 3 to 5 years, but I'm testing early because it has some developments, we'll just say. And so Monday, guess what I get to do, y'all? No, more importantly, Sunday evening, guess what I get to do? And I don't know if I'm gonna vlog any of that. The last time I did try to vlog it, and by the time it was time to go and for everything to take place, when I got back, I did not want to edit that vlog. I did not even want to look at that vlog. So we'll see how it goes. I might vlog a little bit while I'm in the process of drinking the big gallon jug of stuff. Speaking of which, I need to go ahead and get all that set up this week. I'm trying to be here as long as I possibly can, you guys. And so I am really trying to be more diligent about my health and life in general. And it's a lot harder to do than it looks. So there's that. Anyway, originally I said this video was going to be like, my favorite books that I read, and I don't know, it's just kind of really hard for me to focus on that. So it's just about books, period. You know what I mean? Because we're talking about books in some form or fashion, we are, in my opinion, satisfying the requirement of a 12 days of books. How about that? Especially since going forward, I probably will be talking about other things on this channel as well. So this is very appropriate. I'm going to tell you a little bit about this book. You're being introduced to it at the same time that I'm being introduced to it. So I have seen Clarice Lispector's name in many circles when it comes to books, and I know nothing about her. So I do know that this particular book was translated from Portuguese. In the 40 years since its publication, toward the end of the author's life, Agua Viva in unordered meditation on the nature of life and time, has exercised a powerful influence on Brazil's greatest artists. One musician read it 111 times. This new translation shows why, in a body of work as emotionally powerful, formally innovative, and philosophically radical as Clarice Lispector's, this strange and hypnotic work stands out as a particularly magnificent triumph. Wow. This glamorous, cultured, moody Lispector is an emblematic 20th century artist who belongs in the same pantheon as Kafka and Joyce. Okay. Yeah, I had never heard of her until recently, and I haven't told you anything about her for those of you who don't know, but we do know that she's a great writer, apparently. At least that's what they say. This book, Agua Viva, it was written in 1973 and then translated in 2012 from Portuguese. I think I want to go into it not knowing as much about Clarice. I could Google her and do all that, but maybe I should just read the book and then see if I find her fascinating enough to research more about her. I love reading women authors. I love reading books this size. Why aren't there more of these? I love the fact that authors that are not American just say what they need to say succinctly and, you know, with brevity, and they don't bore you with a lot of extra detail. I love that. This is the type of writer, if I were ever to be a writer, this is the type of writer I would want to be. I want to give you some deep philosophical meaning behind my words, even if they are very, very trivial and silly, and they just talk about mundane things like washing clothes or getting my toes done, or that crazy body scrub massage experience I had at the Korean spa where the lady flipped me over the table like I was just a tiny little girl, and I'm not a tiny little girl. Like, that is probably the most mundane thing to talk about, but I feel like people who write these types of novels, they can talk about it in such a way where you think you just read the first printing of the Gutenberg Bible. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's the best analogy, but anytime I've ever read the Bible, I've always found it very fascinating. So that's why I say that. I'm going to get into it because I'm kind of stalling here. I'm going to get into it, but I also have some other things I need to do too. We are going to pick a paint color for this room. That's what we're doing today. I think I'm going to go dark back here and really set it off by making the lights brighter, putting more ambient light in here, stuff like that. But I think for the most part, I want to go darker. I want it to be kind of dramatic, especially because it's so pink out here. Yeah. I think it'll be a nice contrast. We're gonna put the plan is to put a drinks fridge in here, and then I have to find a way to corral this stuff. But for the most part, the house is becoming what I want it to be. I envision this space as a space where I can really elevate the whole concept of living beautifully, even though it's a back kitchen, a scullery, a pantry. It can still be pretty. It can still be dramatic. So, yeah. I also need to get some shelves to go up here too. And we may move this. I think this may go. Yeah, I think it might. I think what I'm going to do, but we'll see. We'll see. See my fancy ladder over there. I am rethinking a lot of the choices that I made when we bought this house or when we built this house. There are some things that I would totally do differently if I could. And maybe one day I might, or maybe I won't. Who knows? But the footprint can still be the footprint and you can maximize the space. And when I was planning in my head, like, I didn't think of some of the other things that I could have done at the time that would have made the space even more efficient. User-friendly. That's the word. Check out my outfit, y'all. I think it's cute. I got the jeans. I got this Zara jacket, baseball jacket, which I love. And just a mock black turtleneck, which I live in these. And my Adidas. And my new All Saints bag that I got for Christmas. People sleep on All Saints. They make really fine leather goods. And I love the color burgundy. I know this color has been everywhere. Some people are tired of it, but I have not had it. So now I do. So it's new to me. Let's see how cold it is outside. Oh, there's my wreath, y'all. It's about to come down now, though. It's so plasticky and so fake looking, but it also looks like bubbles. So it makes me happy. Just a simple wreath. I didn't do anything crazy out here this year. Last time I tried to make it look like Candyland and I girl bossed a little too close to the sun. Whew. Hydrangeas are starting to sprout because we've had some 70-degree days. I won't fix that because if anybody ever comes through that door, I'll know. Books I'm currently reading, Clarice Lispector's Agua Viva. I have no idea what's going on in here. We had to remove this post, a novel by Hannah Bervowitz. Interesting cover. So I owe you guys a day 9 book. And Agua Viva is day 9. I have read about the first 20 or so pages and I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know why I was supposed to like Clarice Lispector so much. But then I realized that this is a book about a housewife and artist who has now decided to become a writer. I realized it was a book about myself in many ways. I don't know if I've decided to write yet, but I know that I want to. And is Dad gone outside already?
Yeah, he's free.
Oh, well, I didn't even know. He ain't said nothing. Here I come. And she talks about how harrowing that could be and how much you have to like commit to doing something so different that it kind of flips you inside out. I don't know if it's that drastic for me, but it's one of those instances where I didn't find this book found me. Having a snow squall. I was just over here this morning. This just accumulated in like 5 minutes. Crazy.
Man, we're in the middle of a snow squall. We got almost an inch of snow on the ground already.
In 5 minutes. They bought me pho. It is so good, you guys. So it is Sunday, and tomorrow I have this procedure. Oh my goodness, I look a mess, y'all. Crazy thing about it is it's supposed to snow tonight until tomorrow, and I don't know if the procedure is going to be canceled. But all I can have to eat today is clear broth and clear liquids and no actual food. And at 5 o'clock, I have to start drinking the gallon of laxative, except for sometime tonight, it's supposedly going to snow like crazy. And I am the first appointment tomorrow, 6 a.m. The forecast has it snowing all night long. I don't know if I'm going to make it. And if my appointment is going to be canceled because we'll be snowed in, do I have to do the prep? Dilemmas. I could, the book Agua Viva, it's just not holding my attention right now. So I'm going to try 2 more books, 3 more books. We'll take care, 3 more books, which I guess will take care of days 10, 11, and 12. And we'll be done with the 12 days of books. I'm going to crack into all 3 of these that I have here on my lap. They are books that I got from Barnes & Noble the other day as part of my Barnes & Noble haul. I'm going to crack into these books, and we will just put these on the list as the last 3 books of the 12 days of books. I feel like I skipped a book somewhere, and if I did, I'll make up for it. One of them I already showed you. We had to remove this post, a novel. This one is about a moderator on a platform, and she has to moderate posts on this social media platform, and I guess the psychological toll that it takes on her and what it means to have to be someone to see all these things and make the decision as to whether or not the general public should see them as well. I have actually already cracked into this one, and it is very interesting, but it really hasn't gotten into the nitty-gritty yet. I'm about 25 pages in. Then I have Just Kids by Patti Smith, which I've seen everywhere, and people say this is really good. I love a good memoir, so I'm totally here for it. And I do tend to like devour books like this, so I can't wait to get into this one. If you read it, let me know what you think. Johnny Depp read it. And then another Clarice Lispector book, An Apprenticeship or the Book of Pleasures. This one, I am told, does not meander as much as the other one. Right now, what I'm struggling with the other one is she just kind of stream of conscious onto the pages. And because I can't really focus, because I don't really have a lot of energy, because I can't really eat carbs or any like real food right now, and my mind is all over the place, it's just not sticking for me. Agua Viva is just not sticking for me. But I'm gonna read the first couple of pages of this book and just see like if this is just like a regular story and I'm not just in somebody's head, you know, wandering around aimlessly. So yeah, this is books 10, 11, and 12. If I did really miss book 8, I will let you guys know. I'm just going to crack these open, kind of, you know, play around with them a little bit, read a little bit, date them.
And she was driving Prince insane. And then, of course, they had a whole, when we first brought our home, Prince had to...
So as luck would have it, I took the prep. I took the colonoscopy prep. I took half of it, to be honest, because I started to get pretty nauseous there in the middle, which had not ever happened before. That was different. But also because I realized that we were actually going to be getting snow and that I probably wasn't going to be able to make it to my appointment, which was absolutely the case because they still haven't even plowed our roads. Now, our neighbors did come and have their driveways shoveled at 8 o'clock this morning. Does nobody like quiet snow day. Do people not like that? Because I love a quiet snow day, but apparently other people don't, because 8 o'clock in the morning was not cute at all. Anyway, you guys, that happened. But what's interesting is how the people got here to do the driveways, because there's at least 6 inches of snow on my street. Like, I don't even know how they got down here. I didn't even see a vehicle, so I'm assuming they just walked. But they did come and they did clean off the driveways of my neighbor in front of me and across the street to the side. And it's like it never happened. So they're definitely gonna have to come back out again. I say just wait till the snow is over. Oh, this is a mess. Wait a minute. I say just wait till it stops snowing. Like, it's still snowing. So my hubby, he's going out right now to just kind of push the snow to the side, just in case we need to get out of the driveway. But I don't expect that he will make a significant dent. So I'm a firm believer that when you're reading a book, you kind of have to be in the mindset for that book. And I think with all that's going on with me, you know, prepping for colonoscopies and just getting over, you know, a pretty bad virus, I guess that's what it was. I think that I just was not in the mindset for Agua Viva. And I don't want to judge it based on me just not feeling well while I was reading it and not really being able to get into it. Thing is, the book is only 80 pages, I think. So I should have been able to make quick work of it, but nothing was clicking. So I soft DNF'd it. And like I said, I have moved on to Just Kids. Now I'm just starting this, and it's already my kind of book. It's a memoir. It's also, you know, historical in nature. It's about Patti Smith, and right now I'm assuming it's about Patti Smith and her relationship with Robert Mapplethorpe. Artist, singer, Patti Smith. I think she's like an artist, a singer, and a writer too. I honestly don't know all that much about her. I did not really learn about Patti Smith in art school. But Robert Mapplethorpe I do know about, because he was a photographer, and photography was one of my concentrations in art school. So I am much more aware of who Robert Mapplethorpe is and his photography. Anyway, I know about Robert Mapplethorpe as a photographer, and primarily because his images are pretty risque. And I remember learning about him in art school. So this will be interesting to get to know Patti Smith more, you know more about her. I don't know why we didn't really study her, because I had a very, I went to 4 different schools, and 3 of them were 3 different art programs. And the third school had a very female-centric or woman-centric art department. The chair of the department was a woman. There's only one male teacher in the department. He was the sculpting / ceramics teacher, and apparently he never gave a girl or a woman student an A. I didn't take his classes, thank God. But everybody else, all the other teachers were women, and the majority of the students in that program were women. And it was very much a girl's girl situation. This is interesting, and it's again another example of a book that found me, because it is about artists, and I didn't really know that going in. I knew this was a book by Patti Smith. I did not know that it would feature Robert Mapplethorpe, who I'm familiar with. And it talks about artists and choosing art. And so far, I'm just in the very beginnings of the book. Not even a good 20 pages in, and I already know that I'm going to enjoy it, because I like reading about people's lives, mainly because I'm nosy. I've said this before, but also because you learn a lot when people are just being vulnerable, being who they are, and telling you about their lives and about the things that they believe and the things that they thought and all that during the time that they were going through something. You're getting their vulnerability and you're getting it from their perspective, and we all have a story. So I'm kind of excited to get more into this book. I think this is going to be my first book for the year. And I'm putting Agua Viva by Claire Lispector to the side. I do have another Claire Lispector book, though, that I'm going to date for a minute just to see if it reads the same way as the first one or if it reads more like a story, because it's snowy and it's cold, and I'm going to be in the house for a few days, still recuperating from all of this, medical stuff that I'm going through. So I want to read a good story. I want to read some good stories. I don't just want to read ramblings where I have to decipher. I don't want to do a lot of work today while reading. I will revisit Agua Viva, though, but I don't think it was the right first choice for a Claire Lispector book. I do love the way she writes, though. It's very juicy, and I love how imaginative she is, and I love how she thinks. So I know that I will be reading more of her books. All right, you guys, I have folded up my towels. I'm going to try to fit them nicely into this cabinet. I love my husband, but there's never any rhyme or reason to how he does things. So he put away the towels last time, and he didn't. He put the guest towels away, and some of our other towels, but not ours. But you know what? I need to go through and I need to reorganize my whole house. So that is going to be something that I plan to do this year, and I will definitely bring you all along with me on that journey. That way we will have more to talk about. All right, it's 14 minutes. Where did the time go? Yeah, this is the cabinet. So it's not quite what I would have done, but I'm not rearranging it right now. I don't have the energy for that. Look at the snow, y'all. So pretty. There has not been a plow on my street.
Yeah, I was like, it's a little early for them to be out here doing it.
Girl, listen. Wow. Winter Wonderland. Yay. I'm gonna touch it. They did not come and salt, nor did they come and plow our street. So who knows? So it is the second snow day. We are starting to come out of the snow. It's starting to melt. It was a long snow day, you guys. A long snow day. Monday was long. We are headed to the grocery store and to get some food. We have food in the house, but we need some more things like water and stuff like that. And we're also probably headed into another snowstorm this weekend. So I'm here for the snow. I'm here for all the things. It was a little harrowing getting out of our neighborhood, though, because they didn't plow our neighborhood. The county that we live in is supposed to plow our neighborhood, and they haven't gotten to us yet. So we have a 4-wheel drive vehicle, able to get out of the neighborhood. The main roads are clear, so we're going to try to get to the grocery store and back and make that as uneventful as possible, because obviously the roads are still a little dangerous. But I'm testing out dating Claire Lispector's An Apprenticeship or The Book of Pleasures, and I already like it. Wow, this is a huge dump truck. I already like it. It reads much more like a story, more so than Agua Viva. I don't still know that I am in the mind space or in the head space I don't know if I'm in the head space to really get into how granular it is. She has a lot of detail. Granular is the right word. I'm looking at one of the reviews, and that's exactly how I would describe this. She has a lot of details in her work. She writes a very literary book. Again, it's literature. It's interesting because there's a debate going on about reading literature versus reading regular books. You're an English major. How do you feel about that? Like, obviously we have our classics canon, right?
Yeah.
And those books are literature.
Mm-hmm.
A lady was basically saying how people should try to elevate their reading and read more literature, and basically they called her elitist. But I think those books are important. Like, I think it's important to read above your grade level, for lack of a better way of putting it. I mean, The Cat in the Hat is a type of book, but War and Peace is a type of book.
Right.
And nobody is going to put The Cat in the Hat and War and Peace in the same category, you know? And so you have a lot of romance out there right now. You have a lot of, you know, sci-fi or fantasy, romantasy. You've got some hybrid categories. They're not all literature. They're not all like classic books. Some of them are a lot of fluff, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't know if I subscribe to the whole idea. It's like, oh well, as long as you're reading. I don't know. What do you think?
I think that when you read for enjoyment, that's one thing. You can read anything for enjoyment.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're reading for information,
Mm-hmm.
that's something absolutely different.
Okay.
And to say that you should only read the classics, I believe, is elitist. Because how did they become classics?
Okay.
Many people read them over and over and recommended them to be read to other people.
Right.
That's how they became classics.
Mm-hmm.
That's also how books are banned, because they become cult. They have a cult following, and then people try to cancel them nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, you want to read, to be reading, but you also need to understand why you're reading.
Right. Because I don't feel like, I don't know anybody that would say that you should only read classics for sure. Because what we deem as classics, it's definitely, it's very like, who picked those? You know what I mean?
It's definitely subjective.
But I will say the books that I have read that do fall under classical literature or who are part of the literary canon for our time, I will say a lot of those books, I understand why they're there. You know what I mean? Like something like To Kill a Mockingbird. I totally get why that's there, you know, or 1984.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we get why those books are there. Mm-hmm. But I think that there are a lot of books out there that are just kind of like other pop culture things. They're pop culture books, but they're not necessarily like books that you have to read, you know, in order to be considered a well-read person.
Right.
You know, so I'm kind of torn. I mean, I by all means have not read all of, you know, what would be considered the best books that people have to read before you die, the classical books that you have to read. I definitely haven't read all of them, and there are some books that I would include that are probably not included. But I think if you're reading for growth, you definitely want to elevate your reading a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
And not just read, you know, what's on sale at Target.
What he or she says.
Or what's fluffy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think there is a distinction, and I don't consider the fact that there is a distinction to be elitist. But for people who only read the classics, yeah, that's a problem. It's just like people who only read nonfiction. That's a problem. You should probably read some fiction sometimes, you know, and vice versa. Because sometimes people who only read nonfiction really believe that, well, I only read helpful books. I don't read, you know, books that I don't read for entertainment. And reading is definitely something that you do for entertainment.
It's very entertaining.
And sometimes you just want like a smutty book.
Smutty.
That doesn't make it great literature, although there are smutty books that are great literature, that are considered classics. So, I don't know, you know?
What is that one? The Slingback?
Slingback.
The smutty book.
I don't know.
A pimp name.
I think you're saying a pimp named Slickback, but
Yes.
that's not a
That's
book.
a
That's
smutty-
a character.
That's a smutty.
But I think you mean like Iceberg Slim's books.
Yes.
And yeah,
Yes.
those are very smutty, but they are very much literature.
And they're classics.
And they definitely are in somebody's canon for sure, especially in American canon. I can
Yes.
see that. That's crazy though.
Exactly. You said.
So this is, it seems pretty good when I'm in the headspace to read something like this, you know, that's got more flowery language, that's obviously written to make you think, not just to entertain you. I will definitely revisit this book. I just, like I said, read the first 5 pages or so. Well, I didn't say that. I read the first 5 pages or so, and I like I said, I like it. I don't know if I'm necessarily in the headspace though right now to read something this cerebral and flowery. Also, people have to remember when books were written too. Like this was written in 1969. So clearly, and it was translated as well. So clearly it's going to be a little more of a journey to read a book like this as opposed to reading something that's not translated to English and is also written in more contemporary times.